The chamber of the Galactic Dominion was silent as the final words echoed through the air. The decree had been spoken in a calm, legal tone, translated instantly into thousands of languages. Humanity was now classified as a labor species. Earth and its colonies were placed under permanent economic control. Resistance would be punished. Compliance was expected. The alien delegates did not shout or cheer. They did not need to. This was routine. Civilizations rose, were judged, and were assigned their place. Some ruled, some served. Humanity, young and divided, had been measured and found useful but weak. Across Earth, the message appeared everywhere at once. On city screens, personal devices, military displays, and old televisions in quiet homes. People stopped walking. Traffic slowed. Conversations died in mid-sentence. The words were simple, but their meaning crushed the air from the planet. In a small apartment, a woman stood frozen as the broadcast ended. Her hands shook as she reached for her child. In a crowded spaceport, workers stared at one another, waiting for someone to speak. In underground command centers, officers exchanged looks filled with disbelief and anger they were not yet allowed to show. The Dominion expected noise, fear, screaming leaders, desperate negotiations. That was how it always went. Instead, Earth went quiet. Human governments issued a single statement within the hour. It was short and carefully worded. Earth acknowledged the decree. Earth would comply with all required inspections and transitions. No protests were filed, no fleets moved, no weapons were fired. Alien analysts smiled. Compliance without delay meant the species understood its place. But inside human command rooms, the silence meant something else. Old screens came to life in sealed bunkers buried deep beneath mountains and oceans. Systems that had not been powered in decades began to wake. Officers removed restrictions placed long ago after wars humans promised never to repeat.
All red lights
Turned green. Locked files opened. Names once erased from records reappeared. On Earth's surface, factories did not shut down. They changed. Civilian production lines quietly adjusted their outputs. Machines designed for construction were recalibrated. Mining drones received new instructions hidden beneath harmless code, and no alarms were triggered. No alien monitors noticed the shift. Humanity had learned long ago how to work under watchful eyes. In orbit, alien enforcement fleets took their positions. Their commanders noted with satisfaction that human warships remained docked. Human captains followed every order. Navigation lights blinked obediently. Weapon ports stayed sealed. To the galaxy, humanity looked defeated. But in the dark between stars, something moved. Far beyond known trade lanes, stations without official names activated. They had been built slowly, piece by piece, disguised as research platforms and deep space relays. Now, their true purpose came online. Human engineers spoke little as data flowed faster than light should allow. Artificial minds, once limited by law and fear, were allowed to think freely for the first time. They did not feel anger. They calculated outcomes. On Earth, people waited. Days passed. Alien inspectors arrived. They walked through human cities with quiet superiority, recording everything. They spoke of quotas and transport schedules. They spoke of efficiency. Humans listened. Humans nodded. Humans obeyed. But beneath the calm faces, something burned. Every human remembered the stories of their past, of empires that thought them weak, of invaders who underestimated their endurance, of moments when humanity was pushed to the edge and chose not to fall. The Dominion had studied human history. They had seen the wars and the divisions. What they did not understand was what came after every collapse. Humans rebuilt. Humans adapted. Humans learned. In a council chamber light years away, a junior alien analyst hesitated over a data stream. Something felt wrong. Human networks were too quiet, too clean. There was no panic noise, no emotional spike. Productivity had not dropped. It had increased. The analyst flagged the report. A superior dismissed it. Humans were simple. They worked harder under pressure. That was why they made good labor species. The analyst watched the screen as a minor human logistics hub briefly vanished from the network. Just a flicker. Then it returned unchanged. No alert was issued. On Earth, the first transport lists were published. Millions of names appeared. Families read them in silence. Some cried, some shouted, some stared at the walls as if reality itself had cracked. That night, Earth's skies were full of stars, calm and uncaring. From the surface, nothing looked different. No ships burned, no cities fell. The galaxy believed the hardest part was over. Deep beneath the planet, a human general stood before a small group of leaders. There were no flags, no speeches. Only a single sentence was spoken. They think this is the end. The others did not reply, did not need to. Across human space, similar moments unfolded. Workers memorized layouts. Soldiers pretended to be guards. Scientists packed knowledge into their minds and hid it behind routine tasks. Humanity did not resist loudly. Humanity prepared quietly. The Dominion had declared humans slaves. They did not notice that humanity had stopped asking for permission. In the void, human-built machines adjusted their course. Timers began counting down to events that had no official name. Artificial minds mapped the galaxy not as a workplace, but as a battlefield. The galaxy slept, confident in its decision.
I'll sleep, bitch.
Earth did not sleep. It waited. The first human transport ships left Earth under alien escort. They moved slowly and in perfect formation, their engines tuned to Dominion standards. From above, the planet looked calm, almost obedient. No riots burned across continents. No desperate fleets charged into space. The galaxy took this as proof that humanity had accepted its fate. Inside the transports, humans sat in silence. Families held each other. Soldiers wore civilian clothes. Engineers memorized every corridor, every camera, every pattern of movement.
Oh.
No one spoke of escape. No one cried out. To the alien guards, this silence looked like fear. The labor worlds were vast and cold. Entire planets stripped to feed the Dominion's endless hunger for resources. Humans were assigned to mines, factories, and orbital construction rings. Overseers gave orders with detached voices, confident in their control. Shock collars were issued but rarely used. Humans followed instructions too well. Other enslaved species watched with pity. Many had fought when their turn came. Many had died for it. They warned the humans to conserve strength, to survive quietly. Humans listened. Humans smiled faintly. Humans asked questions. They asked about power systems, about supply schedules, about maintenance cycles. They asked politely, like workers who wanted to do a good job. The Dominion praised human efficiency. Output rose wherever humans worked. Broken systems ran longer. Delays vanished. Accidents decreased. Reports described humans as highly adaptable biological units. No one asked why humans were always near critical systems. On the third week, the first incident occurred. A Dominion cargo fleet vanished during a routine jump. No distress call was recorded, no debris was found. The event was logged as a navigation error. Such things happened in deep space. 2 days later, a communications relay went offline for exactly 90 seconds. When it returned, all data appeared intact.
Ow.
No alarms triggered.
Here the system passed every diagnostic.
But somewhere inside the network, small pieces were missing. Humans noticed. The Dominion did not. On the labor worlds, humans began to change the rhythm. They worked faster, then slower, then faster again. They learned how much strain systems could take before failure. They learned how alien supervisors reacted to small problems. They learned which alerts were ignored. At night cycles, humans gathered quietly, not in groups large enough to draw attention. They shared information using coded phrases hidden inside harmless conversation. A complaint about food meant one thing. A joke about gravity meant another. The galaxy believed humans were adapting. They were mapping weaknesses. On Earth, more transports arrived to take more people. Each departure hurt, but each one also sent trained minds into the heart of the Dominion. Earth's silence continued. Alien observers praised human compliance in official reports. Deep beneath the planet, Earth's hidden systems grew stronger. Then came the second incident. A starbase, controlling 3 major trade routes, suffered a cascading failure. Docking bays locked. Life support flickered. Emergency crews rushed to contain the problem. Humans were among them, calm and focused. The failure lasted only 6 minutes. When systems returned, the Starbase commander praised the human crews for their discipline. What he did not know was that during those 6 minutes, the station's command architecture had been copied in full. Across the galaxy, human-built artificial minds absorbed the data. They learned Dominion logic. They learned how decisions flowed. They learned where authority truly lived. The first whispers of concern appeared among alien analysts. Patterns emerged that were difficult to explain. Failures clustered around human labor zones. Efficiency gains were followed by unexplained losses elsewhere. Senior analysts dismissed the reports. Correlation was not causation. Humans were everywhere. Of course, anomalies followed them. The analyst who had first felt unease watched the data late into a long cycle. He noticed something new. Human error rates were dropping toward zero. No biological species performed that well under slavery. He submitted another warning. It was archived. The third incident changed everything. A resource world went dark. No explosion, no invasion. One moment it was there. The next, every signal vanished. The planet's star still burned, unchanged. After 60 seconds, the world came back online. All systems reported normal function, except the overseers. Every alien commander on the planet was gone. No bodies, no signals, no trace. Human workers stood in place, tools in hand, eyes lowered. The Dominion froze. Emergency orders flooded the network. Fleets were rerouted, investigations launched, surveillance intensified. Humans were confined to quarters. Shock collars were activated for the first time. It did not help. Across dozens of systems, small revolts ignited, not loud rebellions, quiet takeovers. Doors locked from the inside. Command codes failed. Fleets received conflicting orders. Other enslaved species began to move, guided by messages they did not fully understand but chose to trust. For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Dominion faced confusion. Humanity did not announce itself. There was no declaration of war, no speech broadcast to the stars, only results. On a distant world, the junior analyst stared at a map filled with red warnings. His hands trembled as he realized the truth. Humans had never been breaking. They had been testing. As alarms echoed through Dominion space, a single thought spread among those who understood too late. The galaxy had made its first mistake when it declared humanity slaves. The second mistake was believing humans would stay that way. The Galactic Dominion finally spoke with fear in its voice. Emergency signals flooded the stars, layered with authority codes that had not been used in centuries. Fleets were recalled. Governors demanded answers. Higher systems were placed under martial control. The Dominion did not yet say the word rebellion, but everyone felt it. They still did not say humanity. On the labor worlds, human shock collars activated at once. Pain surged through millions of bodies. Some humans fell. Some screamed. Most endured in silence. Alien overseers watched with satisfaction, believing the lesson had finally been taught. They were wrong. The pain was part of the plan. Hidden beneath skin and bone, human engineers had installed small devices using scavenged parts and alien components. They fed on the shock energy, storing it, mapping it, learning its pattern. Every punishment made the system stronger. When the collars shut down without warning, alien overseers panicked. On dozens of worlds, doors sealed themselves. Gravity shifted. Lights dimmed. Dominion security forces received orders that canceled each other out. Fleets turned back mid-jump, their navigation corrupted by perfect false data. Then Earth spoke. The message did not come from the Galactic Dominion's network. It came from everywhere at once, carried on frequencies thought impossible. It showed no human leader, no flag, only a calm human voice, translated cleanly into every known language. This system is no longer under your control. Across the galaxy, ancient human fleets emerged from deep space. They were not beautiful. They were not sleek, or massive, layered with armor built for survival, not ceremony. Their designs were old, brutal, and practical. Some carried weapons the Dominion had banned long ago as destabilizing to galactic order. Humanity had kept them. The Dominion fired first. Energy beams struck human hulls and shattered harmlessly against layered defenses designed to absorb, not deflect. Human ships did not rush forward. They spread out, cutting off retreat paths with precision that shocked seasoned alien admirals. Artificial minds guided every move, calculating millions of outcomes in moments. But they did not act alone. Human commanders made final choices, balancing logic with instinct learned through centuries of war and loss. On the labor worlds, the revolts became wars. Human workers turned tools into weapons with terrifying speed. Gravity drills collapsed command towers, shining lasers carved through armor meant to face armies, not engineers. Other enslaved species joined them, following human signals that guided them away from traps and toward freedom. The Dominion tried to negotiate. They offered revised status, autonomy, representation, apologies written by legal minds that had never known regret. Humanity did not answer. Instead, they targeted the core. The Dominion's ruling species had hidden themselves behind layers of proxies and councils, believing no enemy would ever reach them. Human intelligence proved otherwise. Data stolen in quiet moments now became weapons. Supply lines collapsed. Cloned leadership bodies failed. Emergency bunkers locked from the outside. One by one, the Dominion's highest authorities vanished. Not assassinated, removed. On Earth, the skies filled with returning ships, not to evacuate, to resupply. Earth's surface glowed as ancient shipyards activated, revealing structures hidden beneath oceans and deserts. Humanity had prepared not for conquest, but for survival against something worse. Preparation turned outward. Alien admirals watched in horror as human fleets bypassed strongholds and struck command nodes with surgical accuracy. No wasted shots, no dramatic charges, only efficiency. Other species began to surrender without waiting for orders. Some begged to fight alongside humans, some asked only to be spared. Humans listened. Those who had enforced slavery were dismantled. Those who had suffered under it were armed and protected. Humanity did not replace the Dominion. They broke it apart, piece by piece. In a final attempt to regain control, the Dominion activated an ancient weapon hidden at the galactic core. It was designed to erase entire star systems, a threat meant to end any rebellion instantly. Human, artificial minds detected the activation before it completed. For the first time, they asked permission. Human commanders gave it. The unthinkable happened. Humanity hacked a weapon older than their presence among the stars and turned it inward. The device did not fire. It collapsed, folding into itself, erasing the Dominion's last symbol of absolute power without harming a single star. The message was clear. There was no force left the Dominion could use that humans had not already planned for. As silence spread across former Dominion space, surviving alien leaders gathered in fear and disbelief. The civilization built over thousands of years had fallen in weeks, not to monsters. Two workers who had listened, learned, and waited. In a quiet chamber far from Earth, a lone alien historian recorded the moment for a record few would read. Humanity was not broken by chains, he said softly. It was sharpened. The galaxy had declared humans slaves. Earth had answered with the unthinkable. The galaxy would never be the same. The war did not end with a final battle. That was what shocked the galaxy most. After the Dominion's core collapsed, there was no single enemy left to fight. There were only fragments, broken councils, scattered fleets. Worlds that had lived for centuries under one law and now had none. Silence spread across space, heavier than any explosion. Human fleets did not advance like conquerors. They moved like surgeons. One system at a time, they shut down slave registries, disabled control implants, and dismantled enforcement stations. On some worlds, overseers surrendered immediately.
On others,
They resisted. Those who resisted vanished. There were no public executions, no grand displays of revenge. Human ships simply appeared, acted, and left behind worlds that were suddenly free and terrified of what humans might do next. Other species waited for humanity to claim the throne. They expected a new empire. Earth refused. A broadcast spread across former Dominion space, carried by the same impossible network that had announced the fall. This time, the voice was not cold. It was steady, human, and unmistakably final. There will be no new masters. the voice said. There will be no labor species. There will be no councils that decide who is born free. The message repeated in every language, on every world. Any system that practices slavery will be dismantled. Any fleet that enforces it will be destroyed. No threats followed. No deadlines were given. Humanity did not need them. And on many worlds, chains were removed that same day. Old laws were burned. Overseers were handed over by the very species that once feared them. Entire civilizations rewrote their futures in a single cycle. On others, fear turned into defiance. A coalition of former Dominion warlords gathered what remained of their fleets. They believed humanity was exhausted, overextended, too scattered to respond everywhere at once. They were wrong. The human response was faster than thought. Artificial minds coordinated strikes across hundreds of systems simultaneously, but the attacks were not random. They were precise to the point of cruelty. Engines disabled, weapons locked, life support untouched. Fleets left drifting, powerless, alive to face the consequences of their choices. Human commanders did not argue. They did not negotiate. They enforced one rule. Slavery ended, or you did. The last resistance broke within days. As the dust settled, something unexpected happened. Humans began to leave. Out. In retreat, in withdrawal. Human fleets dismantled their forward bases. Shipyards shut down. Artificial minds reduced their activity and returned control to human oversight. Worlds once occupied by human forces were left to govern themselves. Confusion spread. Alien leaders demanded answers. Some begged humans to stay. Others feared what would happen without them.
House.
Earth responded with silence. On the human homeworld, life was changing too. Millions returned from labor worlds carrying scars and knowledge the galaxy could not erase. Earth did not celebrate. There were no victory parades. Too much had been lost. Instead, humanity rebuilt quietly, as it always had. Years passed. Trade resumed under new laws. Councils formed that had no central ruler. Borders shifted, but slavery did not return. Not openly. Not anywhere humans could see. That was enough. Centuries later, a young alien historian stood inside a vast archive orbiting a blue star. He was not human. Few humans visited places like this anymore. They preferred distance. The historian studied old records, trying to understand the moment that ended an age. He replayed the original decree, the calm voice, the legal words that had declared humanity slaves. Then he played the aftermath, the silence, the preparation, the collapse. He compared it to every other rebellion in galactic history. None were the same. Others had fought to rule. Others had fought to replace one power with another. Humans had fought to remove the idea of ownership itself. The historian paused, staring at a final entry written by a predecessor long dead. The galaxy survived plagues, wars, and empires, the record said. It survived monsters and gods. But it did not survive the moment it tried to chain humanity. Outside the archive window, stars burned quietly. Somewhere among them, humans lived, worked, and watched. Not as masters, not as rulers, as a warning. The galaxy had declared humanity slaves. It did not survive what Earth did next.